I'm Trent Alexander-Arnold.
I'm Curtis Jones.
I am Cody Gakpo.
Putting on the Liverpool top for the first time, it was a dream come true, and I'll never forget that moment.
The new LFC 24-25 season Nike home kit is out now.
Buy it today, along with our new goalkeeper kit and training range at your official LFC stores. Online at liverpoolfc.com/store and on the official LFC store app.
You will never walk alone.
Another day is here, and you're ready for it. What to wear? Check. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Check. Planning for what's next and how to save for it? That's where Bank of America can help. For your financial to-dos, Bank of America has experts ready to help get you closer to your goals. Get started at one of our local financial centers or 24/7 in our mobile banking app. Find a location near you at bankofamerica.com/talktous. What would you like the power to do? Mobile banking requires downloading the app and is only available for select devices. Message and data rates may apply. Bank of America N.A., member FDIC.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Positivity Podcast on Anfield Index. My name is Matt McElroy, and I will be your moderator for today's discussion. I am joined, as always, by Lubo and Paul Jenkins. How you doing this morning, fellas? Paul?
I'm doing very good, Matt. Doing very good. I think that's the first time in 24, 25 podcasts that you've got that intro wrong.
Yeah. The problem is we were joking, and then I started laughing.
Yeah, I was like, flip me, Matt normally gets this right. He stumbled over a word there. Oh boy, momentous occasion. Yeah, so I am doing very good. Today has been a semi-decent day here. I green fingered this morning. I was transplanting some vegetable seedlings that a friend of mine, Martin, had given me during the week, and they were kind of ready to move into bigger pots. So I've got to try my hand. It's been a couple of years since I grew some veg, so he gave me seedlings for leeks and carrots. I think there's broccoli, there's Swedes, kale. So he gave me those during the week. So I was this morning I was doing a bit of gardening, which is very, very different for me. But it's post-season. What do you do when it's post-season? You're waiting for football to come back around, and the FA Cup was a few hours away from coming on TV. So I thought, right, I will get out and I will do a spot of gardening. Now, I put there in a caveat. The next time that we may do a positivity podcast, all the vegetables could be well dead and be just a memory. So it could just be a fleeting moment where we have discussed the fact that I did some quote unquote gardening, and then the next time we talk, that it'll be like, let's not mention the vegetables because the vegetables haven't done. So yeah, I was doing that, and then had a few other errands I had to do this afternoon, and was out in the garden, out in some of the fields, trying to organize a few things. We need to move our wee chicken plot where we have our chickens, and going to move that down in the fields and just do various different things. So kind of that's what I've been spent my day doing as the day has gone on. It started nice and grey this morning, overcast, thought it was going to rain, and by this evening here, it's a beautiful blue sky and the sun is shining. So it's a nice day here.
That's fantastic. You're in a very different spot for your day than I am. I accidentally overslept.
You've rolled out of bed and started this.
Pretty much, like rolled out of bed and like started taking a look at the outline. Was not what I planned, but just didn't sleep very well this week, and then it went much longer than expected this morning. But feeling pretty good. Got the coffee going. We'll see how this this chat unfolds. So, Lubo, how are you doing?
Lovely.
I'm good. It is a beautiful day here. It's 27 degrees Celsius, and I'm only saying this for Paul because none of this weird Fahrenheit nonsense. But
what did you say it was 27?
27 Celsius. Yeah, it's quite
warm.
hot. It is. It is actually. He has been a bit too warm. I agree with that one. But it's good. It's funny listening to Paul talk about gardening. So my house has a backyard, which is a pretty good sized backyard. There's a plot in there is just dirt and grass. And so over the years, various springs and summers, I've attempted to try some gardening. And the problem is twofold. One is it's a bit too shady because there's a giant magnolia tree that makes it very difficult to grow things. But second, there are just way too many animals, and you don't think that Jersey City would have wildlife, but there's raccoons, there's skunks, there's possums, there's squirrels, there's birds, and anything that you try to grow, they just absolutely destroy. So at the end, I have to try for about 3 years at one point to have some vegetables. I just gave up. It's just way too much work for no reward. I tried everything: tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers and gourds. I planted raspberries and blackberries and all of these things. Just trying anything to grow, and they would just destroy it. It was like no respite. So I just gave up on it, and which is a little ironic because I grew up on a farm, and I used to pride myself into thinking that I actually had a green thumb. But I don't. It's a complete failure. So today being a long weekend, I just decided that I'm going to watch football. So I had the FA Cup on the background this morning, but I'm really looking forward to the Pokal, which is going to start in a little bit of time. I figured while we're podcasting, I'll have some soccer on the background just to see how it goes.
Awesome. Yeah. As we now shift our attention from farming to sports. Let's start with our opening question, and it is the off season now. So what non-Liverpool related sports events are you looking forward to watching this summer? Lubo, do you want to go first on that one?
So we talked a little bit before the podcast started that there's a lot of non-football events which I have completely forgotten, such as the Olympics that are happening in Paris this summer. So I'll probably try to catch a little bit of the Olympics, but honestly, the Euro and the Copa America are happening at the same time. So I imagine whatever free time I have to watch sports will probably be consumed by those two events. And Copa America is actually in the US. And so there will be some games that are going to be at times that are convenient for watching rather than in the middle of the day. And I'll probably end up watching more of Copa than of the Euros. In fact, I think 4 of the games are happening at MetLife Stadium, which is just 10 miles from me, and I'm trying to figure out whether I want to go and try to catch one of those games in person. But the tickets are a bit too ridiculous on StubHub and Ticketmaster, so I may wait until the day off and see if they drop and I find some tickets that are reasonably priced. I may actually try to go and see one of those games. Specifically, I think Uruguay is one of the games is Uruguay against Peru or Uruguay against Bolivia, and it'd be fun to go and see Darwin if in person if I can. So that kind of is going to be it for my non-Liverpool sports.
But that is a Liverpool related sport if you're going to see Darwin.
Yes, technically it is. But I meant of the games I think the 4 games that are being played here. if I had to choose the one to go to, it would be the Uruguay game. I think Argentina is also playing one of the games here. And obviously, because of the Messi factor, those tickets are just ridiculously expensive. So I'm not going to do that. But that, I think, as I said, I think mostly be Copa and Euro, maybe a little bit of the Olympics.
I'm Trent Alexander-Arnold.
I'm Curtis Jones.
I am Cody Gakpo.
Putting on the Liverpool top for the first time, it was a dream come true, and I'll never forget that moment.
The new LFC 24-25 season Nike home kit is out now.
Buy it today, along with our new goalkeeper kit and training range at your official LFC stores. Online at liverpoolfc.com/store and on the official LFC store app.
You will never walk alone.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become? Senwa Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Yeah, just as an aside there, it's like it is amazing how big of a draw Messi still is in all these games in the U.S. And just how like they have to move all the games to bigger venues, and every ticket sells out, and then the secondhand market is like quadruple the face value of the tickets. It's insane.
Actually, I was speaking of which, just a side note. Inter Miami were going to play. Actually, they played at Vancouver Whitecaps last night.
Yeah, BC Place.
Yes, at the place. And I had looked at StubHub, and the good tickets, so the tickets that are behind sort of the benches, that the 50-yard and the ones that are close to the pitch, tickets were selling for $1,500 to $1,800. Literally, it's just insane on StubHub.
Is that US or Canadian?
Well, it doesn't matter. It's US, but you're just realizing these people are putting these tickets. There's no way those tickets should cost that much, even a tenth of that much, right? But people were counting on the draw of Messi being there, and Suarez and Busquets, and to try to make a lot of money off those tickets. And then the day before the game, it was announced that Messi, Suarez, and Busquets were not going to play, which I found super hilarious.
Oh.
So I don't think many people then were buying those tickets. But then again, I wonder if someone actually ended up buying $1,000 ticket to see those guys, and then realizing I don't think they even traveled. I think they just stayed behind.
Yeah, that would be really unfortunate. So, anyway, the non-Liverpool related support that I'm actually looking forward to over the next month or so is the Tour de France. I just think that this year could be a really interesting addition. The guy who won the last two and a bunch of other favorites all got like badly injured in the Tour of the Basque Country about a month ago, and so they've all been like racing back through recovery to try to get ready to do the Tour de France. And in the meantime, the Giro d'Italia has been happening, and this guy Tadej Pogačar, who won in 2020 and 2021, has been in really good form. So you have this guy Pogačar going against the winner of the last two, potentially, who's on like a comeback story. So it could be just an interesting version of the Tour de France. They're also starting like a few days earlier to avoid because of the Olympics. And then the race actually doesn't end in Paris for the first time in like decades. So it just could be an interesting event that's like not something you would potentially normally watch. So take a look at the Tour de France. When does it end?
Where does it end?
Hold on just a second. It's in Nice.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they just don't go quite as much to the north of the country, I think, as usual, because
that's
of
because of the Olympics.
Because of the Olympics.
Yeah, because of the Olympics.
Nice.
So yeah, and then Paul, what are you looking forward to?
To be quite honest, I haven't watched the Tour de France in years, but you're kind of reeling me in there, going, "Oh, there's a wee bit of an understory here that might be worth watching."
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't watched it in a long time. Probably for me, it'll be the Euros, and I know I know it's not quite not.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac, and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes, and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
I know it's not directly Liverpool related and not directly non-Liverpool, but it's football, so I'll watch it, and I will watch the Olympics. I'm usually a fan of watching the Olympics, so I would say those two are the two things that will probably catch my eye, and I will watch them. I'm trying
What
to think of
events at
something
the
else
Olympics
that might be
would
happening.
be? What events at the Olympics would be of interest to you, Paul?
Swimming. Actually, I like watching the swimming. For no other reason than I just like watching swimming. Like I remember I went and tried to do a swimming gala one year in school, and I was dire. I was absolutely woeful. I don't think I could swim a length of the pool. I just went because it was a day out of school. So, I have absolutely no link to swimming. I just enjoy watching it. And then after that, do you know what the Olympics are like? Right? The Olympics are these sports, these things that on an ordinary day you wouldn't touch. You wouldn't go anywhere near watching them. And then all of a sudden they come on TV and you get 10 minutes into it, you get 15 minutes into it. After an hour, you're an expert on it. Why is
And
he
you're
taking
fully
that
hooked,
approach?
right?
Yeah, but more than that, you're going, why is he doing it that way? That's silly. What did he do, what did he do that for? That there's ridiculous. Why is he doing that move in the judo or whatever? And you're kind of like, you know what I mean? You've like 2 days ago you'd never even heard of this sport, and then all of a sudden you're an expert in it, and you're just criticizing and critiquing all these boys. That's what I always find about the Olympics. It's like when the Winter Olympics is on and the curling's happening, everyone becomes an expert in curling. It's like, why is he brushing that way? Oh no, that's going to spin the wrong way. That's going to do this. Do you know what I mean? So the Olympics is one of them ones that where you just watch it and it's like you just get sucked in by these random things like shooting. I know nothing about shooting, but all of a sudden you were sitting there going, oh, he's missed it. Oh, that's a bad one. And all of a sudden you just get sucked in on these sports that you just have no idea and no clue about. And that's what I love about the Olympics. Badminton, I love watching the badminton as well. I used to play badminton quite a lot, so those would kind of be the sports that I would be probably watching when I'm watching the Olympics. I'm not like you. I'm probably not going to watch the triathlons and the and all that kind of stuff. Like that's not my vibe. But like, some of those other random ones, like the judo's always quite fun to watch too. My dad did judo, so it's kind of like, oh, what's this for a wee bit and see what they're doing and all that. So yeah, Olympics and Euros will be what I'll watch.
So I look forward, Paul. I look forward to you explaining us a proper technique to throw javelin or a discus at the next
Oh,
podcast.
like honestly, I'll be an expert without a doubt. Now, funnily enough, I did do both of those things at school actually, and then my eldest boy, Eli, he has taken the same approach to me in that he wants a day out of school for sports day in a couple of weeks. So he has entered the long jump and javelin. Those are the two that he's doing on sports day because that gets him a day out of school. So
Great.
yeah, so I'll be an expert on all those things. Oh, totally, without a doubt, without a doubt. And then 3 weeks later, I'll not have a clue what it is that we're talking about.
Yeah, one thing to watch out for at the Olympics is one of the Americans, Taylor Knibb. She qualified in both triathlon and time trial cycling, and so that means she's one of the few athletes that will be competing in 2 different sports at
Right.
the Olympics this year. And so that
Oh.
it'll be interesting to see how she does.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's one of the favorites to win the triathlon. I have no idea if she's gonna do well at the time trial.
Well, that's one to watch then.
Yeah, could be interesting.
Nice.
If she takes 2 golds, that would be pretty unprecedented.
Yeah.
So let's start talking about Liverpool then, because that's why we're here.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So over the last month or so, Liverpool's results in the Premier League faded a bit, and Liverpool ended up 3rd in Jurgen Klopp's final season. They failed to mount a comeback in Italy and went out to Atalanta in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. Off the field, Liverpool announced the hiring of Arne Slot from Feyenoord as Jurgen's replacement. So let's start with taking a look back at the season. Do you think this was a good season for Liverpool? And Paul, can you get us started on that one?
Yes. Honestly, I do think it was a good season for Liverpool. You know, in the round, when we look at where we were this time last year, we had come off a terrible season, and I know that probably in our postseason roundup, I should have listened to that actually, but probably in our postseason roundup from last season, we'd have still been, pretty upbeat about our chances, and our preseason, our preseason show, we probably would have talked about, mounting a title challenge and going far and winning Europa League and domestically doing well. Excuse me, but when you look back on
Hello, I'm here to annoy you. I'm here to annoy you into listening to more of me and more of others on EPL Index. We don't just have the Anfield Index stuff, we've got EPL Index as well, which covers the entirety of the Premier League. And we have 3 podcasts and a whole bunch of really good writing on EPLindex.com. The podcasts are my own two-footed podcast, which is every day at 4 p.m, Monday through Friday, covering the whole league. We have A Tad Predictable, hosted by Tadiwa. You know Tadiwa, he does Anfield Index. He presents A Tad Predictable before every Premier League match week. And then Kevin DeVries and his crew on the EPL Roundtable, they're every week after the Premier League match week. So make sure you listen to everything we're doing on EPL Index and follow us there on Twitter at EPL Index. Thank you. Bye-bye.
From where we were, at this time last year to where we are now, I think on the whole, you'll look at the season and go, by and large, we had a really good season. There's a number of positive points when we look at this season. For me, one of the big ones is Connor Bradley. Make no secret about it. Like you guys know fine rightly. Big fan. I think, him coming through. But he's just one of a number of young players who had a breakthrough season this year. Jarell Kwanzaa. We've seen Bobby Clark get minutes. We've seen Jaden Dance get a goal. We've seen McConnell get minutes. So we've seen others. So we've seen, in terms of as a season, results wise and actual silverware, we're probably not as happy as what we maybe predicted at the start of the season. But we've got a top 4 finish. We picked up one of the domestic cups. unfortunately, we went out in the Europa League. It was to the eventual winners, and you have to say, well done to Atalanta. They beat Amorim Sporting on the way there. They beat Klopp's Liverpool on the way there, and they beat Xabi's Leverkusen in the final. So ultimately, Atalanta were the European team in the Europa League that no one could really beat. And from that point of view, you kind of look at it and go, well, okay, um, maybe we underestimated them, and maybe even us as fans just kind of thought we'd be able to roll them over, and ultimately we weren't. Um, but we're the Positivity Podcast. We're very rarely going to come on here and go, "This was a bad season," and I think the when we look at it overall, I think it was a good season. I think, given that Jurgen made his announcement in the new year, just after the new year, that could have went one of two ways. The team could have fallen apart then. Everyone could have asked questions. Was it the right time to give the announcement? Da, 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 da. But it seemed to galvanize the team. We went on a really good run. Whenever we lost Trent, whenever we lost Dom, whenever we lost Mo, we had players who stepped up, who showed that they were good enough to be good enough to be counted. Connor Bradley shown that he was definitely an option for that right back, probably playing a different way to Trent. We had, you know, Diaz, Gakpo. We had different players. Harvey Elliott had a great end to the season. So I think, overall, I think we had a good season. I think Joe Gomez had a cracking season, especially as a player who everyone, thought as a centre back, days were numbered, wasn't going to see the heights that what he previously had to kind of, in a way, reinvent himself as that utility player who could be used at left back, who could be used at right back, who could fill in at the six role whenever we had no one in six. I think Joe Gomez did himself no harm this season with how he played. I think that's been rewarded by his call up to the England squad. Whether he makes the final 26 that go, I don't know. But I think there's a lot of it's a weird one because I think there's a lot of individual benefits and high points for this season, even though we've kind of come away with a bit of a feeling of disappointment. But I think that's because for so long we were achieving great things, and yet the analysis at the start of the season would have said here, if we get fourth, we're doing well. If we can get a cup run, we're doing well. We went out to the eventual winners of the FA Cup. We went out to the eventual winners of the Europa League. Now, are United a good team? No. But they've done what a lot of teams haven't done this season. Beat us, beat City. And they've done what they needed to do to win that FA Cup. Fair play to them. And everyone talking about Arsenal. Arsenal end up winning nothing this season. You're not going to count the Community Shield because it's a friendly. So, for everyone saying that Arsenal are the big team, they've had the great season. Arteta's had a shoe in for manager of the year. What have they come away with at the end of it? So I look at us and kind of go, actually, we've had a pretty good season, given that we had to overhaul the midfield and come start from scratch nearly with that midfield. So yeah, I think we've had a good season.
Yeah, I think that, like you were saying, it's more about the ordering of results, right? If Liverpool had their bobble in like January and then won all their games to end the season, but then just got third, you might think like, well, we're really on the up here, instead of being really good until April and then having a bad month, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It how you view the season then is sort of colored by what happened over the last like month of it.
Yeah.
So what you want to, I think what you should do is just sort of broaden it out, right? And I think like what you were saying is like before the season, we all sort of picked Liverpool to finish second, win a domestic cup, and then go to the Europa League final.
Yeah.
Now they kind of almost did that, and in that way, the season was pretty good. if you want Liverpool to win titles, I think there's some areas for improvement, and there is a bit of a gap there, just in terms of the results, and so they can improve on things. But from where they were in the previous season, it's a pretty good step in the right direction. Now it's just a matter of seeing if you can do that without Klopp. And like you're saying, it's like lots of good breakthrough performances from the young players, and so there's lots of things to take home from the season that are like very positive. So, Lubo, what were your thoughts?
I'll echo what you guys said. One is around the improvement to the team. I mean, last year we finished outside of the top four, which is not great. But the fact, as you both said, at the beginning of the season, with the competitions we were in, I think everyone would have taken a top four, ideally second or third, and one of the cups. I would have thought maybe the Europa League would have been the desired cup, just because it's Europe, right? And we're European royalty. And we ended up with the smallest of the cup, the smaller of the two domestic cups. But at the end of the day, it is, if you look at it, it is a successful season from that perspective. I think maybe a little bit not just how the season panned out, but also when the trophy was, because the League Cup is in February, right? And then you win it, and then you kind of forget it. I almost feel like if we had finished third but won the FA Cup against Man City or Man United, right? If the draw had worked out, I think we'd feel even more positive about the result, right? Because it's a little bit the more recency, even though from my perspective, FA Cup or League Cup is not that different in terms of what you win. So I think if we look at the season as an aggregate, where we started and where we ended, you have to look at it as a positive. The young players that Paul was mentioning, the development of so many young players this season, Jarrell, Connor, Harvey, even though Harvey is more experienced, but he's still very young, quite a few others. I think it is a really, really positive development, very positive experience that unfortunately was a little bit necessitated by a lot of the injuries that happened to more experienced players. But at the same time, I think it's a very positive development. And I think the last thing to say is that I think how quickly the midfield was rebuilt was actually a positive story, that it's maybe kind of lost a little bit of a momentum as well, or a little bit of the narrative at the end, because kind of toward the end, I think Curtis got injured again a little bit, and he was out. I think Dom was a little shaky after his injury. But the fact that you look at the midfield now, and you have all of these really, really young midfielders who will be with the team for a few years, hopefully. Endo is the only one, but Endo is always going to be more of a squad player. But everybody else is 20, 25 or younger. And I think that is a very positive, given we lost 5 midfielders last summer, and it wasn't a given that the midfielders you bring in would be able to step in and integrate so well. So I think that is another really big positive that happened. And the last thing I want to say is, I know the finishing was a problem all year, and I'm not going to talk about it too much. But actually, if you look from an attacking perspective, more from a process rather than end results, this was actually an incredible season from an attacking perspective. So a couple of facts. We had over 500 shots in the league, which is the most of any season under Klopp. And if you think about it, and you think all these great attacking seasons that we've had, this is actually the most shots that Liverpool, Klopp team has had, which is probably the most shots any Liverpool team has had in history. I think that's incredible. And this is only the third time in Premier League history that a team has had over 500 shots in a season. The other two was Chelsea, the Chelsea teams in 2008, 09, and 09 or 10. And so I think attacking-wise was actually an incredible season. I think we have 88 total XG, according to the OptiStats, which I think is the
87.
most. I think it's 87 point something. So 87, 88. But again, I think that this is the most under Klopp. And it's just
second most under Klopp.
Oh, really? We had a better season?
2 years ago was 88.7. This season was 87.8.
So close enough to that 21-22 season that was incredible, that got to that got to basically almost was able to do the quadruple. Yeah, thank you for looking that up. I actually thought it was a little bit higher this season, but regardless, I think from an attacking process perspective, it was actually a really good season. It's just that the goals didn't come at the same rate, and also just defensively we kind of fell apart in the second half. But I think now for Slot, it's positive, and I know we'll talk a little bit more about him, but at least you have the ingredients for a very good attack. It's just more than how do you fix the back end a bit more? How do you become more sturdy defensively and go again? But I think that by itself was actually a very positive development.
Yeah, I think like what you're saying, if you're comparing the two seasons there between this one and 21-22, is that the attacking output in terms of XG is pretty similar. Then just like the number of goals scored there's a big gap to the season 2 years ago, but the defense is where like the area of improvement could be. This season conceded 45 XG and 41 goals, whereas in that season 2 years ago, when Liverpool got 92 points, was 33.8 XG allowed and only 26 goals. So it's just some improvement there on the defensive outputs is needed if Liverpool do want to like push on and start challenging for titles again.
Hey guys, it's Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here. I hope you're enjoying this podcast, and I'm sorry to call time on the show before it ends. In the current climate, it's tougher than ever before to offer podcasts for free. At Anfield Index, we produce over 75 free shows every month, which I'm confident is unparalleled in the LFC sphere. Whilst we'd love to offer everything for free, the production costs now make this impossible. That said, we don't want to follow the model of other channels and lock all of our content behind a paywall. So what we've decided to do is to continue offering every show for free, but cut that offering to 30 minutes on our longer shows. So to get all of our shows in full and enjoy the best of everything we have to offer, we really hope you'll consider supporting the channel and signing up at AnfieldIndexPro.com. For about the price of 1 cup of coffee, you'll get every podcast in full with 0 ads. You'll also get access to our LFC VIP community, where you can enjoy live podcasts, engage with our podcasters, and chat with other Reds in real time. So that website again, AnfieldIndexPro.com. Join today.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
I'm Trent Alexander-Arnold.
I'm Curtis Jones.
I am Cody Gakpo.
Putting on the Liverpool top for the first time, it was a dream come true, and I'll never forget that moment.
The new LFC 24-25 season Nike home kit is out now.
Buy it today, along with our new goalkeeper kit and training range at your official LFC stores. Online at LiverpoolFC.com/store and on the official LFC store app.
You will never walk alone.